Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
YouTube, IronForgeIsIron.com. Wayne Shada here. In conjunction with OneWrestling.com's Sean Ross Sapp. What's up, Sean Ross?
How you doing?
And gonna do something a little bit different here. WrestleMania 28 just happened on Sunday. Big event, biggest wrestling event of the year, the Super Bowl of wrestling. I just felt obligated to do a vlog about this. I know, and I usually do my vlogs with Chuck, but Chuck isn't a big wrestling fan, and I had to get somebody who was really, really qualified here. And Sean he works for an amazing, amazing wrestling website. So who better than to have Sean? And he's great about Twitter as well. So feel free to add him. I know his Twitter ad is up there. Nonetheless, biggest pay-per-view of the year, WrestleMania. Whether you were a wrestling fan or not, most people will watch WrestleMania because it's WrestleMania. I haven't been following the sport for a very long time, and I know I use the word sport, but I consider it a sport. But nonetheless, I do keep track of it through friends and through gossip websites and all the rumor mills and everything like that. But before I start off, I just want to give a quick rest in peace to Chief Jay Strongbow, 83 years old. Jim Ross earlier mentioned today, Hall of Famer, 1994. He went with the gimmick, with the Native American gimmick. Just a truly, truly cool guy. Rest in peace, Chief Jay Strongbow. Anything you want to add?
Yes, while he was actually Italian, he was a major influence in the Native American community. My family is actually Native American. And he was a major player. Like, people these days don't understand how big Chief Jay Strongbow was in his day. Georgia heavyweight champion in the NWA, a very, very important wrestler in the 70s, 60s. It's a terrible loss.
Yeah, it's a big, big loss in the wrestling community. And, I know you worked for the WWE as a talent scout for a little while. Rest in peace to his family. My condolences to his family. Thank you for all the memories. He was a little past earlier than my time. I grew up in the rock and wrestling era. So, nonetheless, we'll start it off. WrestleMania 28 in Miami, Florida. Very, very interesting. That one of the big things about, I guess it's the crowd was amazing.
Yes.
And I know that Raw just happened yesterday. The crowd, I guarantee you, was, from everything that I read online, the crowd was louder at WrestleMania than Raw. It's just that since it's an open roof, it didn't show up on the screen. But it was a very, very rowdy crowd. I've never been there to see. I've never been to WrestleMania. Next year's WrestleMania is going to be at. They're claiming it's New York. I mean, when you see the promo, it's a minute and a half promo, but and a minute and 15 seconds of it is shot in New York, which it gets me angry. I don't even want. That's a different topic altogether. The fact that
MetLife, right?
Yeah, it's at MetLife Stadium, Giant Stadium for all you New Yorkers fans out there. It'll always be Giant Stadium to me. What's upsetting to me is I hope the WWE does right by the fans. There's a lineage to Madison Square Garden, and yes. I'm so very upset that it's not going to be. Chances are it's not going to be at the Garden, but nonetheless, WrestleMania 29 is going to be there. So they announced that during the pay-per-view. We're going to start off by mentioning the world title fight, Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus. I think by the time I'm done talking about this intro, it would probably have been longer than the actual match. 18 seconds, you got the big boot, and that was it. Pin, 1, 2, 3. Really, really upsetting. I think this is the fastest since Backlund and Diesel at the Garden. I think it was like 48 seconds or 45 seconds. Yes. And then what's upsetting to me, it's just, this is so insulting. It's so insulting There's so many fans out there that really, really like Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon. I know people call him Daniel Bryan. He's just an amazing worker, a really good guy. It's so upsetting that they I don't. It's so upsetting. It's just upsetting.
It is.
Nothing else I could say.
And last year, I was very excited for their match last year, and it got bumped off the card. So in Daniel Bryan's 2 WrestleManias, he spent a grand total of 18 seconds in ring time and has gotten no offense on a WrestleMania pay-per-view. Which, apparently it didn't hurt him too much, judging by the crowd reaction from last night. Because the crowd last night cared about Daniel Bryan, while John Cena was in the ring for his 10 minutes of fame, running down the Rock before he got annihilated by Lesnar. The only thing you heard from the crowd is Daniel Bryan and yes, yes, yes. That is it. So, I mean, it's not like Daniel Bryan is buried. He can overcome this, but it's very disrespectful for a guy who's worked for as long as Daniel Bryan has.
It's probably the most disrespectful scenario with a title since David Arquette. I want to go on record as saying that. That's probably as disrespectful as David Arquette winning the WCW World Heavyweight title. And then
it is very disrespectful.
What upset me the most is that they had a promo afterwards with Foley and Santino, and they had some little commercial with the Deadliest Catch, and they spent more time on that little promo that with Ron Simmons coming in and saying "damn" than the actual match. I could have gotten rid of the whole. I'm sure Deadliest Catch must have paid like $50,000 or $100,000, whatever it was to have that commercial in. The WWE could have definitely appeased a lot of fans and everybody else on the internet, because it seems as if as of late they're trying to gear towards the internet, and the fact that they spend more time on the silly promo on the Deadliest Catch rather than Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus, just really upsetting to me. I have nothing else to say. You wanted to say anything else?
Well, I understand that during some of those segments for big shows like that, they need filler while they change the set and everything. You don't need filler 10 minutes into the show. You don't need that. And Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus could have been a good matchup. Daniel Bryan is small enough for Sheamus to throw around the ring, and Sheamus is big enough to take any offense that Daniel Bryan can throw at him, any of that stiff offense. I hope that isn't the end of the feud, because it looks like they're moving in towards Alberto Del Rio and Sheamus. And I just think that would be very unfortunate if we didn't get to see a good matchup between them before that.
This was supposed to be, in my eyes, the sleeper match of the night. I thought this was
last year as well.
I thought this was going to be the sleeper match of the night, and just turned out to be the biggest disappointment of the match. So,
I thought that last year as well, and ironically, I thought that about JBL and Rey Mysterio a few years ago when their match ended in about 20 seconds too. I thought that they would find a way to pull a decent match out of that and surprise some people, but apparently not.
Yeah, so, nonetheless, we go to the second fight of the night, Kane versus Randy Orton. Really, really surprising to me how good this fight was. Really, really good match.
I was very... Even more shocking is that Kane picked up the victory, and it was a victory that he needed coming off of his return after being made to look so strong and then getting beat by John Cena soundly. Kane really needed this win, and apparently it looks like there's more to this feud than what we saw at WrestleMania.
These guys had really good chemistry. So
yes, they did.
So I like this little feud here. Kane wins by top rope chokeslam. I didn't see that coming. I thought that was pretty awesome that he won that way. Nonetheless, really good match, very good quality match. This was the sleeper of the night, I thought, this match. Third match of the night, Cody Rhodes versus Big Show. Big Show wins by weapons of mass destruction. I got to ask you a question. Was it me, but was it unnecessary to show the Big Show... and don't quote me on this. He hasn't won at WrestleMania. They had a little promo about him not winning a WrestleMania?
He's won a couple of tag matches, but that's it. He's never won a singles match at WrestleMania.
Okay, so they kind of made it seem as if he's never won a match at WrestleMania. Coming into it,
Yes.
why would you downplay the Big Show, one of the fighters? I didn't get it.
I guess it may have been a way to make Cody Rhodes look more believable in his opportunity to defeat the Big Show, because there are some guys that are clutch, like The Undertaker, who performs at WrestleMania, and then there are guys who aren't clutch, like the Big Show, who apparently chokes every year at WrestleMania. I will have you know, the Big Show is undefeated at SummerSlam, however. Not a lot of people know that.
So there's a streak. There's a new streak.
Yeah.
So
he's probably only wrestled at 2 SummerSlams in his 12 years, but he is undefeated.
there it is. Man, and then you could say Lawrence Taylor's undefeated at WrestleMania as well. There's a couple of guys.
Every celebrity and athlete thus far is undefeated at WrestleMania, with the exception of the Battle Royal at WrestleMania 2, I believe it was.
Right.
Other than that, every celebrity or athlete, including Maria Menounos now, is undefeated at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and although you got to say this, Pete Rose, he took the loss. Pete Rose is always
being a Reds fan. That hurts me. That hurts me as a Reds fan. But the guy deserves it.
Yeah, Pete Rose.
He can work a crowd. He can absolutely work a crowd.
Pete Rose is always taking the loss, and I appreciate that. So, So
he's been jobbing to the Hall of Fame for 20 years.
There it is, man. And nonetheless, we go. You mentioned Maria Menounos, who teamed up with Kelly, beat Beth Phoenix and E. Torres. The only thing that I remember from this match is I think Kelly did a top rope like moonsault or something. That was pretty cool. I don't think there's anything really to mention.
My over-under for Kelly in the gymnastics contest was 3 moves that involved a spin, a flip, or a twist. She went over that. And one thing I wonder is how talented could Lou Thez have really been if Kelly can do a Thez press?
Right. There it is.
And why isn't Beth Phoenix learning how to defend a roll-up? She gets beat by it every week. I don't understand.
This what's interesting? I kind of felt like there was a lot of fillers here. You mentioned fillers.
Yes.
Which we go into the rest of the card. Typically at WrestleMania, and I've learned this through friends who are in the business, they generally put like a big match, and then they have like a filler, like the women's match, so the crowd could cool off. I know a lot of people on Twitter were mentioning, why are we watching a women's match? Why couldn't, the momentum, the crowd starts to kind of, the energy gets lost. We go into Undertaker versus Triple H. You want to start this off, Sean? Your thoughts?
On Undertaker Triple H, Undertaker, this is probably going to be his last WrestleMania. I mean, while he looked great in the ring, didn't miss a beat at all. You could tell he was out of shape. You could tell he wasn't physically ready for a match like that, but he performed. And if there was a way for all 3 of these guys to go out, that was the way to go out, because that is something I've never seen before, is the surreal look at the end of that match with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker carting Triple H off. It was just something, and they called it an end of an era match. That signified the end of an era. I mean, there's no better way they could have done that. And the match was slow-paced like almost every other match, but it told a story. It did its job. It made a WrestleMania moment, and it ended an era.
Yeah, the intro is very long. Going into it, the Hell in a Cell, I know why they did the Hell in a Cell. Number one, it looks good on paper. Somebody goes on, oh, wow, there's a Hell in a Cell match. Secondly, you mentioned Undertaker. He gassed in like the first couple minutes of this match. So he was breathing hard. But typically Hell in a Cell matches are very slow and methodical. What was interesting and excellent about this match, it was probably the most physical and brutal match she could have had in a Hell in a Cell without actually using the Hell in a Cell.
Yes, absolutely. Like, you always have those people that watch Hell in a Cell and expect somebody to climb on the top of it and fly off the edge. That hasn't happened in a decade. It's not going to happen again. This is not 1999. They can't do that anymore, and especially these guys. And you wouldn't have even realized that if you hadn't have paid attention to it, because it was so physical, it was so brutal and so violent that they used the stairs, they used the chairs, they used their signature maneuvers, and it was just breathtaking. I mean, I think it went maybe one near fall too long after the chair shots from The Undertaker, but it ended shortly after that. And I mean, a 30-minute match out of these guys, you couldn't have asked for more from them.
Yeah, and it went about 5 or 10 minutes, a little too long. After a while, you get hit with the sledgehammer about a million times. You start to kind of shake your head like, okay, what's going to happen here? Definitely popped huge. I really thought Undertaker was going to lose when Shawn Michaels gave him the super kick. Yes. And he went into the pedigree. That emotion right there, that 1 second, because the whole time I'm thinking Undertaker's going to win. That one split second is really just something that not a lot of wrestlers could do to fans.
I had a room full of about 15 people, and there was not one person. Even the girls that came to watch with their boyfriends were on their feet at this match, had no idea who these guys were. And that shows how much of an imprint you can make on pro wrestling when you can make people who don't even know who you are jump to their feet. And that's what these guys did.
Yeah, it's awesome. And the fact, my fiance, who doesn't watch any type of contact sport unless it's football and she has money on it, or baseball, and she likes hockey. But she was big. She was like rooting for the Undertaker the whole time. She got into it too. And
I thought Undertaker was going to have his head Gallaghered by that sledgehammer with Triple H. He had it hoisted up, and until Shawn Michaels ripped it out of his hands, I didn't know how they were going to pull that spot off, because that was very last second, and all of us were about to cover our eyes on that one. Yeah. That was getting pretty extreme.
The Undertaker streak is the coolest thing in wrestling today.
Yes, it is.
And
absolutely.
Kudos to
because it's something.
Go ahead.
It's something they didn't even notice for the first decade, and every year now, it's a selling point for WrestleMania. Yeah. It's an automatic main event for WrestleMania is the Undertaker streak. No title necessary.
Yeah, it's the title. I think that's probably one of the most important matches of the year. That this streak. I don't think Undertaker's gonna wrestle again. I think he's done. And what a way to go out. What a way to go out, you know. And yeah, it is the end of an era. I'm not the biggest Undertaker fan. I could definitely appreciate what he's done for the sport and you know, so I don't take anything away from him. And I get him the whole Undertaker. I'm gonna miss him a lot.
Yes.
This was an amazing match. Definitely 20-0 now. This is great number to lead by. It seems like it's the right time for him physically, before he starts to really deteriorate. And you know, to beat Triple H at WrestleMania, it's the way to go out. It's the way to go out. Yeah. But you know, in wrestling, people come back.
Yeah, I mean, who's to say that, you know, and he may not be able to perform a long match, but who's to say that for a WrestleMania moment that WWE may not have a huge heel here in a couple of years. He comes out, complains that he's not on the WrestleMania card, issues an open challenge. You hear the Undertaker's bell ring. Choke slam, tombstone, it's over, WrestleMania moment. He could do that at 49 years old.
Yeah.
The hair's not there, the physique isn't there. He can still tombstone somebody at 49, 50 years old.
Yeah, just an amazing match. Amazing match. A lot of false finishes as compared. His match against HBK I think, outshined this. This wasn't his best WrestleMania match, but this is damn good. This is up there.
Yeah.
This is up there.
It was
damn
incredible.
So, nonetheless, that's it. I mean, as far as that match, I definitely think you guys should comment. And it seemed everybody on Twitter, whether it was Bloodstained Lane or whoever, was just all over this match. I mean, it was insane. Insane.
I couldn't believe it. And there were the only problem I had with this year's WrestleMania was pace. The pace of some of these matches, not them. They are perfectionists. Everything about their match was paced absolutely perfectly. Mm-hmm. And Undertaker is the best in the world at selling getting his ass kicked and not believing that somebody is coming back.
Yeah.
Because just the look in his face makes everything even better.
Yeah. Even the fact that, like, he picked up Triple H for that last tombstone. He goes, "Come on!" He said it out loud. You can really feel like that. It seems as if that's all he had. And you
feel his emotion in every match.
Definitely the fact that they kind of closed in on some of the audio to hear don't end this match, Sean, or whatever it is that Undertaker was saying to him was awesome.
That was brilliant. Vince's production guys are really slick. And, Triple H and Undertaker had to let him know that. Like I said, his production guys are really slick. They know what they're doing, and they know when to catch that stuff.
Yeah, so that's it. So we go into another match, Team Johnny versus Team Teddy. I definitely think they should have done the women's match after this and swapped it, This is why I thought they had a lot of filler matches in the beginning of the card. Not that it killed the crowd because Miami's was a very rowdy crowd, but it could have been. There was definitely. I thought the crowd was a little bit taken back from this match, although.
Yeah. It was slow. They were using rest holds to open up the match. When you've got 12 guys in a match, let them go balls to the wall.
Yeah. So we're talking. We're talking about Team Johnny versus Team Teddy. Team Teddy versus Team Johnny. Forgive me for interrupting you. Go ahead, continue.
Oh, it's fine.
But
you saw the spot they did at the end of the match, the triple senton over the top rope. They could have been doing that from start to finish. They could have had this match be full speed ahead with the guys they had in there, and I just don't see why they were doing headlocks and rear chin locks in the opening minutes of this match.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's always been another WrestleMania tradition to have a Money in the Bank match, and they decided to do this instead because I was told Wade Barrett. It has something to do with Wade Barrett. Can you explain that to me? Because I didn't get it.
Apparently, Money in the Bank, the pay-per-view, had been shelved, and they were going to bring back the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania. That proved to not be true, but they were still considering doing a match. Wade Barrett was rumored to be the one that was going to win that match. He injured himself about a month and a half ago, and they just completely scrapped the match and went with this idea, which I wouldn't have been opposed to if it were elimination style, which could have taken a while. But, there's no reason. Did Maria Menounos need to be on the pay-per-view? Bless her heart. She tried. She tried harder than a lot of the women do in the company. More time could have been given to other things, and this is one of them. 12 guys who could have put on a good match elsewhere.
Yeah,
it's just...
This was just a way to give money to the boys and get some guys some extra WrestleMania paydays, which I have no problem with. I went out for ice cream during this time, so... and then of course they did the exit alone of that Undertaker Triple H match was long enough between that, and then they did the Hall of Fame intros, which I didn't. Usually there's a lot of hoopla about that. This year seemed really kind of quick. It seemed as if it was a little rushed. This year's Hall of Fame.
You saw how close to the end of the show they went. They went till about 2 minutes remained on the pay-per-view, so they had to. They were scrambling for time.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and this year's Hall of Fame class, don't get me wrong, I respect everybody that was there. It was okay. They were lacking a big name, and Edge was not a big name for me. And I know Ron Simmons is a big name, but he's just not a star. this year it would have been perfect for somebody like Jake the Snake.
Yes, it would have.
You know, somebody like that who should be. I don't know if Rick Rude isn't there yet.
No.
There's a lot of guys that could be in
If
there.
this were 2016, it'd be perfect. Edge would be a great headliner. Edge headlined WrestleMania last year.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're not getting a lot of emotion out of inducting Edge into the Hall of Fame from fans because they've seen him several times over the past year too. You know, let him be off TV for a while, then induct him.
Yeah,
That's what you should do.
It is what it is. But we go into the WWE title match with my favorite wrestler, CM Punk, who's wrestling Chris Jericho, and I use that as a joke. If you want to see who my favorite wrestler is, all you got to do is look over my shoulder. Nonetheless, we had CM Punk versus Chris Jericho for the WWE title. Again, great production with the audio. I thought that the fact that Laurinaitis mentioned the DQ thing kind of took away from the match a little bit.
Yes,
I didn't understand that. I was definitely popping huge for the Jericho taunts where he was saying, how's your dad? How's your, your sister? That was just awesome. I just thought that was great. I popped huge for that. A lot of people were claiming this was going to be the Savage Steamboats-esque, and it on paper it looked like it did. And for any other pay-per-view, I would say it would be a 5-star match, but this was not a WrestleMania match.
No. Good match, like I said earlier, slow pace. Two guys that could go whatever speed they want to go and have a great match. And like you said, I don't understand the John Laurinaitis DQ and you lose the title thing. They've billed CM Punk as a competitor who will take on anybody. Why would he go into the biggest show of the year and get himself DQ'd? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my life. I don't know why they even added that. I mean, this was billed as best in the world. Who wanted to prove they were best in the world? Not even necessarily for the WWE title. It was more about who was the best in the world. And why would the best in the world go get himself DQ'd? It doesn't make any sense. But the match started out slow. It picked up some great spots. That Codebreaker spot looked great off the springboard. They did some good stuff. It's probably the first time I've ever seen somebody actually get suplexed from the apron to the outside and land flat on their back like Jericho did. Big props to him for taking that bump. But by the end of the match, it was going back and forth, and it was not a WrestleMania main event. It was a Survivor Series main event is what that was.
Yeah, and props to Jericho. I was very impressed by Jericho. Jericho looked great last night. And Punk looked great too. Punk's always been a great wrestler. But Jericho just really, that Lion Tamer, that transition to the Lion Tamer was awesome. And this, you know, a lot of people say 5-star match. I want to give it 4 stars. I really didn't think it was a WrestleMania match on any other pay-per-view, even the Royal Rumble, any other pay-per-view. This would have been awesome. Yeah. And still,
I think they'll have a better match in Extreme Rules. Yeah. I really think they'll have a better match in Extreme Rules.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, it was a little slow-paced. Well, and it could have also felt that way because of, you know, any match after Undertaker, Triple H was going to feel slow-paced, and that's the problem sometimes with having that streak match. Is just
everything else is like a hangover afterwards.
Yeah, so I just feel like it takes away from any other match. Nonetheless, Punk wins by Anaconda Vice. I was shocked that Punk won this fight. I thought it took away from Jericho's return. I thought that, you know, it would have been great if Jericho won this and then to have Punk chase him. I think would have been more interesting than Jericho going after Punk. I don't know.
I agree. I think that if they were going to make any sense of that moronic Johnny Laurinaitis statement of no DQ, then it would have been perfect to have Jericho win the title, and then that sets up Extreme Rules, and CM Punk says, well, I don't have to worry about getting DQ'd now. This is Extreme Rules. That would make perfect sense. I don't know why they did that. Decent match nonetheless, and I have a feeling these guys will put on a better match at Extreme Rules.
100%.
Not to say this one was bad by any stretch.
No, I won't say anything, but it was just, it lacked something. It just lacked something.
Yes.
And
it didn't have that WrestleMania moment.
Yeah. And so we go to the Rock versus Cena main event. Crowd was big into this. It lived up to the hype. It definitely. Rock looks awesome, man. If you are a Rock doubter, you would have, or if you don't follow the sport that much, you would have thought Rock wrestled was still an active wrestler. He just looks smooth. Every single move he did was smooth. There was zero ring rust. Amazing.
None. Yeah. And I'll go ahead and get this off my chest. I have guys tweet me all the time saying, John Cena can't wrestle. That is a very 2005 thing to say, and I am not a John Cena fan. The man can wrestle. If you saw that sunset flip into the STFU, the man can go. When he is asked to deliver, the guy does it. And these two guys, you knew what you were going to get out of this match. You knew it was going to be similar to that Rock-Hogan match where there was the face-off and the test of strength. These guys put on, and they got the crowd worked up just like they should have. And I did not see The Rock winning this match. I saw it as a passing of the torch. It really shocked me, and I have no idea where it's going to go from here. I really don't.
That was the
Rock.
Yeah, that was the number one thing that came out of this match. First off, I'm a big fan of Cena, just not like fan, just fan of his work.
Yes.
There's only two faces in the company, two good guys.
Yeah.
It's Punk and Cena. So, you know, having
Orton just hangs out and doesn't talk. I mean, he's not a top face. They have to rely on Punk and Cena.
Yeah, and you guys got to also realize, when my generation, same time as you, there are moments in life where you realize there's certain guys were faces or they became heels. You know, if you say, well, when did Hogan turn bad? You know, when Hogan turned bad, when he did the leg drop. And when he turned good, you knew that, you know, when he came in for Backlund, there were moments, you know, and what the problem is with wrestling is there really isn't a moment where certain guys are good guys, show that they're good guys and they're bad guys. It just kind of gets blended in together, and you know, it's very.
I feel like they decided against doing that at WrestleMania since the Austin turn at WrestleMania 17 did not work out the way they had hoped. But I really, in my heart of hearts, thought that if John Cena were to ever turn heel, it would have been last night in front of a Miami Rock hometown crowd. But, you know, with Brock Lesnar back in the picture, that may have stalled things a little bit.
Yeah, and I hope they never turn John Cena bad. I really do.
Yeah. Because he'll be cool to everybody, and he won't be a heel.
Yeah.
Everybody will love him.
He's for children. Let me tell you something. For children, you if you see children, they're all wearing the Cena shirts. They're all wearing the Cena book bags. They all have the T-shirts. He is a huge moneymaker. Business-wise, there is no way in hell John Cena should be turning heel anytime soon. And I hope that they never do that.
Hulk Hogan.
He is.
He's the guy that the kids love and the adults hate. And if they turned him, it'd probably be a little bit of the opposite. But you'd still have your diehard Cena haters. But yeah, he is the face of that company, and he is there consistently, and he does put in the work, and he is on the talk shows. he is the face of the company, and they need him like that. I'm slowly becoming a Cena fan because when you first get your taste of Cena, you think, well, that guy's fake. There's no way he can be that nice. The guy is that nice, and he is that devoted to his craft.
Really, really nice guy. In fact, I met him years ago when he was wearing the weird tights before he turned into the Vanilla Ice, rap guy.
Yes.
I met him, and he was extremely nice. It is what it is. Great back and forth match. The crowd's obviously behind Rock.
Yeah.
Everybody was expecting Lesnar. That was big.
Yeah. I was disappointed. I really was. I have to admit.
Whatever buy rates the Raw had tonight, yesterday night, would have been double that if Lesnar showed up on WrestleMania.
I absolutely agree. I do think that was hurt a little bit by the NCAA tournament. So, I mean, if I were the WWE, I know they don't like to do Raw replays. I would call up USA and say, you've got to replay this Raw again later this week or this weekend or something like that. It was one of the best Raws I've seen in a long time, and half of that had to do with the crowd. That crowd was so loud last night.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they made a WrestleMania moment on the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. Nobody will forget when Brock Lesnar came back and F5 John Cena, and they could have had that the night before and got the ratings pop the following night, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and Cena did a great job at Raw just placating the crowd, making them wait for it. The crowd was just begging for Lesnar, and he just completely ignored them. Them. It was just great. He's just a smart guy. I'm a big fan of Cena. Nonetheless, Rock wins when Cena tries to go for the people's elbow, and Rock pops up, gives him the rock bottom, pins him for the win. And I don't know what the deal is with that. I feel like having Cena lose to The Rock and then get F5'd so quickly by Lesnar with ease, just kind of, it makes him look like really, really bad. I know, I'm sure that there'll be a program with Lesnar and Cena for the next year or so, or whoever, because I know, I don't know if anybody read, I read online that the contract states that Lesnar has to make 2 appearances a month. So now we have Brock Lesnar. I'm really excited about that.
He will be wrestling.
Yeah, he's going to be wrestling.
He will be doing some wrestling.
So,
I think this will come full circle with the Kane feud, the rise above hate. Everybody is targeting John Cena right now, whether it was Kane, whether it was The Rock, or whether it was Brock Lesnar. All of these guys are coming back and targeting John Cena. Maybe that eventually does get to him, and we do see a little bit of edge to that character that's been the same for the past 7 or 8 years. But who knows? The WWE is doing a very good job of keeping people on their toes, because I swore up and down that Brock Lesnar was coming back on WrestleMania evening. I really did.
Yeah, so that is it. Best WrestleMania since WrestleMania 20. Yes or no? You disagree with me?
Yeah. I don't agree. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. If a few of those matches would have been a little higher speed, then I would say yes. But I will say that the last 2 hours of WrestleMania were probably the best 2 hours of WrestleMania they've had in well over a decade, because you had 3 matches go over 20, 22 minutes. And their top hyped fights were just executed well. Rock, Cena, CM Punk, while it wasn't the 5-star, it was done very well. And Undertaker, Triple H, you couldn't get any better than that from those guys at this stage.
Yeah, top to bottom, the card wasn't that bad. I mean, if you ignore the Bryan Danielson thing, the loss, and ignore the women's match, and even the Team Johnny Teddy match, the rest of the card was good. Cody Rhodes' Big Show was decent. Kane and Randy Orton was surprisingly good. to give you a little recap. Undertaker Triple H was awesome. Punk Jericho,
Yeah.
great match. The pay-per-view was great. Great pay-per-view in a very long time.
Yes, it was.
WrestleManias are always typically good. I just think over the course of all the WrestleManias, this was up there as a good WrestleMania.
Yeah, it was.
So
It definitely lived up to the hype because the most 3 hyped matches were given a lot of time and there was a huge payoff.
yeah, so this WrestleMania 28, really, really good. Looking forward to WrestleMania 29. I will be there, which is going to be awesome. You should come down too to New York. I know Ohio isn't that far.
I'm hoping to. I'm hoping to. I live in northern Kentucky, but I'm hoping I can make that trip.
Yeah, it's going to be worth it. I think next year's WrestleMania is going to be ridiculous. And the
Absolutely.
crowd, a little disappointed that it's not an MSG for WrestleMania 30, but we never know within the next 2 years what's going to happen.
Got to maximize those profits.
Yeah. I'm not going to hate.
Stadium. First New York WrestleMania in a stadium, I've got to believe that's going to be pretty crazy, as long as it's not 25 degrees the first weekend of April.
And it could very well be that way, and it might shower. Rain is a big issue out here during that time.
Yeah.
So they better be praying to the weather gods, you know, praying to.
Is there no
Chief Jay
retractable
Strongbow.
roof on MetLife?
No.
Oh boy.
Electricity, thunderstorm, crowded lights. Not good. Not a good sign. Next year's WrestleMania, weather-wise, could be a disaster. But if Chief Jay Strongbow has anything to do with it, I'm sure he can help the weather, and we'll see how it goes. Sean, thank you very much for coming on. This is a lot of fun. We will do this again. I'll have you in the future. Definitely would love to do something with MMA because we got to do wrestling.
Yeah.
So follow him on Twitter. Definitely awesome to have. Pretty good about responding to people. Go to onewrestling.com for your wrestling needs. Go to ironforgesiron.com for your MMA needs and all your vids and gifts. I know Zombie Prophet has all the gifts there. And
those are wonderful, by the way.
Yes. Shout out to Chuck and Bloodstained Lane and everybody else in Team Takeover, Twitter, YouTube. Thank you for watching. I know it's 42 minutes, but I think this is a pretty good vlog compared to the last one, which you got shit on. So I don't know.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I got a lot of hate mail for the last vlog. So, no, I think hopefully, this is a different change for me. So I'm always trying to evolve this. But nonetheless, thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Anything you want to plug before we head out?
Check out youtube.com/IFG videos. That's my fight team, catch wrestling team. A lot of cool stuff on there. If you're into MMA or pro wrestling, we add gym videos, competition highlights, stuff like that. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, definitely. And that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. Peace out.